Hello everybody and welcome back to another video for the day. We're going back into something I literally haven't done in over a year, which is r/niceguystories. I honestly had not anticipated how well the last video I had done, and I honestly forgot about it, so sorry about that. So you know what, if you want to see more videos like this today, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below. The engagement is hopeful for me, and if you guys have not already, subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, after this video, be sure to check out the other videos. I'll have the playlist in the end cards. But without further ado, let's get into this. Our first story comes to us from username Urururaka. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, but I know it's based off that girl from My Hero Academia. A nice guy offers to help me bear his children to purify their blood. Okay, that title straight up sounds like it's something right out of Welcome to Night Vale. It's a podcast I've been watching. If anybody watches this, go to Ralph's and avoid the dog park. Excuse the formatting, I'm on mobile, and forgive me, this is a long one. So, to start things off, I should give some background. A 22F attended HBCU, getting my master's in African American history. My father is a third-generation Chinese American, and my mother is a Nigerian immigrant. Although I am half Asian, the only thing I inherited from my dad is the blend of hair and skin color between them and my mom, because I am basically a walking clone of my mother. Aside from looser curls and a slightly lighter skin, I have always identified as African American because that is what I am perceived as. Now that that's out of the way, I met Nice Guy in my last year of undergrad because we had a class together and we took the same train to and from school. Although I tend to come off as pretty cold, a cultural personality trait I picked up from my dad, he would chat to me on the train and I enjoyed the company. We weren't really friends per se, but just school buddies and never talked or hung out outside of school events or riding the train, and like I said before, I can be kind of reserved, so we never really discussed my personal life until, flash forward a year, he asked me if I'd like to meet him and some of his friends at the movies because It Chapter 2 was coming out, and I said yes because not only do I love Stephen King, but I needed an excuse to get out. That's where I went wrong apparently. Everything started off great. We met up with a guy and a girl, seemed pretty cool. Things started to get weird when we were waiting in line for tickets and I was chatting with the other guy, we'll call him Tom, about the book It, and Nice Guy slipped his arms around my waist and said, "Don't go trying to steal my date, Tom. You got your own," and laughed. My face went blank and it immediately clicked in my head. Nice Guy thought this was a double date, but I had a whole boyfriend that I lived with. Once inside, I pulled Nice Guy aside and let him know straightforward, this is not a date. You did not ask me on a date. If you did, I would have said no. I have a long-term boyfriend. He seemed disappointed, but he took it well and apologized for not being more clear. And with that, we agreed we could still be friends and watch the movie. I thought that was that, but I was so incredibly wrong. Through the next year, he continued to flirt with me and even added all of my social media so he could text me there. I would constantly remind him I had a boyfriend and that it wasn't cool for him to do that, and then he would apologize and do it all over again. Then, once quarantine started, I would catch myself getting into my phone, so I would occasionally delete my social media for a few weeks and then download it again. Nice Guy did not like this and wouldn't hesitate to tell me so. Finally, I decided to tell him we would have to be friends from a distance. You know, no ill will, silently root to each other, say hi, but not actually hang out, because he was making both myself and my boyfriend uncomfortable. That is when he took it upon himself to find my boyfriend's Instagram. This was weird because Nice Guy didn't even know my boyfriend's name, and I didn't like posting my private life on social media, just art and cooking mostly. This was also weird because the only social media my boyfriend had was an Instagram account for his business. He trades in Forex for rich people and takes a percentage of the earnings, and also does classes on Patreon teaching others how to trade. Nice Guy sent my boyfriend messages about how he was holding me back, and a smart, beautiful girl like me shouldn't stoop so low as to date a guy who dropped out of college. He said he couldn't take care of me or provide the life I deserved, even though he paid all of the bills so I could focus on school without having to work. He even accused him of forcing me to be Muslim so he could control me. He was not. I have been Muslim my whole life. After that, I messaged him and said I didn't want any contact whatsoever with him, and once quarantine was over, not to even look at me if he saw me on the train. This is when he really snapped on me and told me that I make the school look bad because I'm a white girl pretending to be black and probably stealing scholarships away from actual black people who deserve it. When I told him he sounded ignorant and that I was Asian and African, not white, he said Asian is white, and then ranted about how I could have had a black king take care of me, but I'd rather date some sand end. My boyfriend is Haitian and Dominican, but many people think he looks Middle Eastern, and that he was gonna do me a favor by letting me bear his children and purify their blood, and detailing all of the things he would do to me. It shouldn't be a shock that I was completely done with him at this point. After I told him that if he had ever approached me in person, I'd tase him in the balls and blocked him, I write the professor of a class he was a teacher's assistant for with screenshots of our convo attached. It's been 4 months since, and every once in a while, I get weird DM requests from shady accounts named after rappers with some kind of threat, but the dude doesn't even take the same train anymore, and he lost his teacher's assistant position, so I guess that's an L for nice guy. Yeah, not gonna lie, like, people really need to understand where a boundary is, and this dude not only just stepped over the boundary, he did the Olympic long jump over that. Like, there is just some pestering you don't go to, because going out of your way to find the significant other's Instagram account to DM them is honestly creepy as can be. Our next story comes to us from username Lazarus12345548. Biker dad schools nice guy. Not sure if this belongs here, but buckle up Reddit and/or/viewers, you are in for a good one. So, there's me, 23F, and my married coworker, 29M. I've been at my job for a few weeks when we got a new assistant manager. Admittedly, he is cute, and we got along great, and I do have to admit I was contemplating flirting and asking him out until I found out that he was married and had 2 kids. Fair enough, he was a pretty cool guy in a tiny town, so of course he was taken. No problem, we can just be work friends, right? Apparently not. A couple of weeks into working with him, he started telling me stuff about his personal life, claiming that he was in an abusive relationship. Okay, weird to bring up with me, but okay. Next time I saw him, I brought him a few tools to help him get out. I thought that would be the end of it, right? Apparently not. Over the next several weeks, he keeps coming to me as a confidant, even though I made it clear I wasn't comfortable with that. He even tried to reach out to me through social media, even though I told him not to, so I blocked him. But it eventually reared its head when he decided to ask me out. He has not left his wife. Even if he did, he needs to heal from the supposed abuse first. So I told him no, and he kept trying to apologize for making me uncomfortable, so I told him to drop it. And he did, for a bit. He continued to complain about his home life. Oh well, I got a new job anyways, so I would be leaving in a couple of weeks anyways. Yet, somehow he thought me leaving was about him and told me he would leave if I wanted to stay. I told him it wasn't about him and to drop it. He continued his usual thing. Oh well, I just half listened to him at that point, and then his last-ditch attempt before I left happened. The last night I was working there, he told me he was divorcing his wife. Okay, I shrugged it off. It's not like I was going to date him if he left her anyways. Night went along okay, and she came by with his dinner in the middle of our shift. Weird, but okay, whatever. She was in and out, and as soon as she was out the door, he came running to me and let out the biggest lie yet. He claimed that his wife told him she wanted me dead. Of course, that scared the crap out of me. Now, through this whole thing, I've been keeping my parents informed because they're who I relied on to know what to do during this whole thing. They were definitely my guiding light, and as soon as these lies poured out that day, I relayed it via text to my folks. And that night, my dad came to get me after we did the closing duties. Of course, my dad comes roaring out on his motorcycle and waits for us to be done. At this point, my coworker was already scared, so scared that he skipped paperwork in order to hurry up and leave. When we finally came outside to lock the doors behind us, my dad, in full biker leather, comes around my coworker's wife's car, and the wife followed my dad around. The coworker tried to avoid making eye contact with my dad. He was shrinking in fear. My dad had a man-to-man talk with the guy. He didn't hurt him, just scared the crap out of him. He may have wet himself a little. Meanwhile, the wife was apologizing to me about her husband's behavior. She genuinely felt bad about her husband. It was a huge relief to know that she didn't blame me, though I do feel bad for her. Anyways, after my dad and I were done talking to the two, the wife started screaming at her husband and told him to walk home. Dad and I hopped onto the motorcycle and rode home, the two of them still screaming at each other. Yeah, unfortunately, some people really do have a hearing problem when it comes to understanding the word no, although the easy method to getting that point across is having a biker yell in their face. That actually will get the point proven, and I'm actually being serious on this. I really do appreciate the girl's dad actually helping her out with that, because some people really are persistent, and it can get really bad if it's not just kind of stopped right then and there. Our last story comes to us from username deleted. Well, that sucks. Nice guy rejects me, acts like an a-hole, and then does some nice guy BS to a goth girl with a boyfriend, and then gets rejected by 9 girls. So I'm not really salty about him rejecting me, because later I realized it was a comp het and I just saw him as a friend, but it is necessary to the story because of how he treated me. I remember he would talk about how girls will take the dinner, take the chocolates, take the flowers, but they won't ever take you, which I should have seen as a red flag. When I asked him out, I wrote a love letter with a few of our inside jokes. He laughed in my face and gave the note to the goth girl he liked and said, "Mimsy, me, like you." I basically had to snatch the note away while crying. The teacher allowed me to go to the library and cry while a friend comforted me. I was upset because I thought he was a good person, and I saw the goth girl pushing him into the library and trying to force him to apologize, but he just took the moment to flirt with her instead of being a decent person. The girl had made it obvious that she was in a relationship too. She even talked about loving to wear her boyfriend's jacket and how she loved his cologne, which this nice guy obviously did not like. The next year, the guy got cockier, apparently because the goth girl's boyfriend was in college while she was still a senior at the time in high school. This guy proceeded to be meaner to me. He even told a guy who constantly harassed me, and he knew he did about it. The guy constantly brought it up. I eventually had to explain what happened, and everyone agreed he was being a butthole. This didn't put a stop to the nice guy from acting like a nice guy, always being cocky and pretending he was right in everything. Might I mention, he was a big fan of the Joker and would do a Joker voice every time he could. He also convinced the goth girl, who had already said he was a big fan of Harley Quinn, to dress up for Twin Day at school, Harley Quinn and the Joker. Lastly, he complained about never finding a prom date. According to my friends, he acted out like 9 girls, and the last girl roasted him pretty hard. Can't remember exactly what she said, but it was something about him being a smartass. My friends believed that this was because of how he rejected me last year, because somehow it got around the entire school. I only told my friends, and since he was the one who told the dude who harassed me about it and wasn't afraid to tell others about it, he kinda dug his own grave. Also, something I noticed, the goth girl stopped hanging around him during lunch and snack, so I think they've stopped talking. A bit of a short story nonetheless, but it's still interesting to see just how persistent and how dumb some people can be, because some people honestly think that you can do the same result or same action over and over and over again and get a different result, which is actually the dictionary definition of insane. And honestly, you would think that the dude would kind of realize after maybe the third or fourth person turning him down down that maybe there's something that he's doing that he could change or do, you know, kind of be a decent person. That'd be a good thing to do. But for some reason, this seems to be one of the hardest challenges these people can do in life. But with that, that is going to have to be it with the video. If you guys would love to be absolutely amazing, show your support, and to see more videos like this in the near future, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below, and if you have not already, subscribe and turn on notifications. And also be sure to check out the playlist for the r/niceguystories videos. I got a whole bunch others that I bet you will absolutely love. I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.